My name is Jonathan Goforth. Thanks for watching today's video. This is the number one topic every brand new realtor wants to talk about: how to get more leads, how to generate leads, how to get more buyers, how to get more listings, how to get clients, all the different things you want to call it, how to generate more leads. How do you get more leads? That's today's topic. Check out my other videos. I have lots of educational videos on everything related to real estate, how to make you a better realtor. If you're a buyer or a seller, check out the other videos also. Please subscribe to my real estate videos. After this video, I'm gonna do another one on goal setting. How do you set your goals to be a successful realtor? And part of that is also how to get more leads. So that's gonna be another video coming out in a few days. That's why you should please subscribe to my real estate videos. Click the word subscribe right down there, and next to that is a little bell icon. You want to click on the bell, turn it on, so you get notified of future videos. In a few weeks, I'm going to start a series on real estate investing. I flipped houses, I have rental property, and so we're going to talk about all the details to that too. Thanks for watching. Let's get started. This is my favorite thing to talk about: lead sources. Where are your leads going to come from? And then this is going to help create a blueprint. It's going to create organization to how you're going to sell houses. Now, you're going to take all of this that we're going to talk about now, you're going to use that for goal setting. So that's why I want you to subscribe. Click the word subscribe so you don't miss upcoming videos on what to do with this. We're going to talk about what this is. You're not going to do all of it. I don't do all of it anymore, but I have done all of it in my past 24 years. But you're not going to be good at all of it because they involve different aspects of your personality. So you're going to be really attracted to certain things on here, and other things are going to scare you to death. And you're going to, no way am I going to do that. And that's okay, because you've got more than enough things to choose from. There's more than enough ways to generate leads. And so we're going to talk about that. So please subscribe, please give this video a like, and let's talk about lead sources. Some of these are very important. Number one is your COI list. COI is your circle of influence, or your center of influence, or your community of influence, whatever you want to call it. That's what COI is. Or you might hear it SOI, your sphere of influence. It's the same as your circle of influence. So when you hear that in your office, and you're going to hear it a lot, then that's what that talks about. It's everybody who you know and everybody who knows you, which are two different groups of people. For example, your parents' friends. They knew you since you were born, but you probably don't know all their names and their addresses. Those are your parents' friends. You may not know them at all, but they do know you. Everyone your parents work with. Maybe your mom's a school teacher. All the other teachers, I guarantee they all know who you are. And you need to get their contact info, because if they knew you were selling houses, they would love to use you to support your mom. And I've got a video. I've got a lot of past videos. Go through all my past videos. They will help you so much. But one video in particular is how to put together a name list. I'm going to copy that link, and I'm going to put it right below here in the description of this video to make it easy to click on that. If you do not have a name list, then none of the rest of this really even matters. You need to do a name list. I've got a video that's very detailed in exactly how you do that, how you brainstorm to find all those names. And if you only have names and you don't have addresses, how do you get the addresses? So please check that video out before. That is a life-changing video. This is the lifeblood of your real estate business. This is what gives your business success. It's taking all of this, and then what do you do with it? So grab some paper, let's take some notes. Your circle of influence we're going to talk about many times because a lot of these things are going to overlap. You're going to use facets of this to use your center of influence. One thing you're going to use your COI list is to ask them for referrals. Referrals will become your number one source of buyers and sellers. Every time you send out a mailing or an email or anything, ask for referrals. When you do sell a house, ask your client who already is using you and likes you, ask them for referrals. They have referrals. They know people, and you're going to basically tap into their COI list. Ask them, who do they know that's about to move? And I promise you're going to get referrals. So in the last 24 years, I've been doing this for 24 years. I've been listed in Forbes magazine for the last 3 years, 2019, 20, and 2021, as one of the top market leaders in the country in real estate. And then a few months ago, I got listed in Fortune magazine on the top 500 list. So I've been doing this for 24 years, and I love it. It's real estate is the best career possible, and a couple reasons: unlimited income potential. So a lot of you have just kind of ended up in real estate because something didn't work out as to where you just came from. Some job, you didn't like it. Maybe you got fired, maybe you got laid off, you just didn't like it. And here you are in real estate, the easiest career to get into that has the highest earning potential of any career like this. Now let's talk about mailings. You've got to figure out, what are you going to do with your COI list? How do you get leads out of your COI list? They would love to give you leads if they knew you're a realtor. So how do you tell them? How do you consistently remind everyone in your COI list that you are selling houses and that you would like their business and referrals? Multiple ways you can do that. The easiest is sending them mailings. Now you need their addresses. You can get that through tax records, or they're probably Facebook friends. And you can send them instant messages, ask them for their address. Some things that you can mail out. I love mailings. I send out so much junk mail. You would love my junk mail. Some things that you should do as a real estate agent to promote yourself to your COI list. I live in Kansas City, and some of these are old magnets. These are Chiefs, Kansas City Chiefs. These are Royals magnets. I'm very fortunate to live in a city with two big teams. It gives us as realtors opportunities to send out mailings. I'm going to give you some pointers. Anytime you do that, you're going to see the word Chiefs is not on this. The word Royals is not on this. Be careful, do not use copywritten words. It says Kansas City football schedule. It's in Chiefs colors. The assumption is made that says Chiefs. It doesn't. This is in blue for the Royals. Does that say Royals anywhere on it? No, it doesn't. The back is the St. Louis team schedule. Sometimes I do kitchen measurements. Sometimes on the back of this is Monday Night Football, all those things. That's a perfect thing to mail out because people will keep it. It's something they're going to hang up on the refrigerator with your picture, your name, your phone number, your company logo. We're going to come back to mailings again because mailings are the best source ever, I think, because as the cost of postage has gone higher and higher, more people are not sending out mailings. And so my mailings are more effective than they've ever been before. Something else you can do. Now you're going to need paper and pen because I'm going to go randomly a lot of different directions with this. You can also, a mailing is sending out just listed postcards and just sold postcards. But you have to have a listing to do that. So when you get a listing, especially in a neighborhood or a suburb or a part of your city where you want to capture more business, I do a just listed postcard right after I list it to the surrounding houses. Prospects Plus is a great way to do that. You can make a postcard, mail it from their website. You can use your RPR to get names and addresses around that listing, and you can make your own postcards. I'm going to show you examples. I do the same thing after it has sold. After it closed, I do another postcard to the same houses, so those surrounding houses get hit twice by my junk mail. These work, but you're sending that to strangers. So your return, your success rate on this is going to be much lower than mailing to people who know you. Now let's talk about sign calls. Again, you have to have a listing. So these go together. This is your listing, it's your sign in the yard. Your phone number, your name is on the sign at that house. You will occasionally get a sign call. When you get the sign call, they're gonna ask you, I've got some questions about that house. Now, when the phone rings and you can tell you don't recognize the number, and the first thing, I've got a question about a house, I just passed it. You know, in the market we have, a seller's market, it already went under contract. It went under contract the first night. You can put, an under contract rider on it, which means you're no longer going to get any sign calls because people driving by see it sold. But if you don't put that, you might continue getting sign calls. They're curiosity calls. Random people driving by, they want to talk about your listing. Can they see it? How much is it? How many bedrooms does it have? If it's under contract already, or it doesn't even fit what they're looking for, don't just let them go. That's your lead source. Ask them, what are you looking for? And just listen. What are you looking for? And ask, are they pre-approved? What price range are they looking for? What type of house? Clearly they want that neighborhood. They want that area. That's why they're driving by your listing. Capture them as a buyer. If they're not working with another realtor, then collect their info, set them up on a house search, and have it automatically send them listings. That's how you work sign calls. Now we're going to talk about calls. This is where everybody just hates lead generating. When people think of lead generating, they think of making calls, memorizing scripts, and that's where they're going to get lead sources from. I typically don't make calls. I just don't. I do a lot of the rest of this. I've sold hundreds of houses already, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of houses, and I really never make calls. I just don't. I just don't want to. So I do mailings instead. I find those more than enough effective, and so I've sold lots of houses. But if you want to make calls and you enjoy it, you're calling who? Your COI list. So you need phone numbers with those names. And that's who you're calling. You're saying, hi, it's Jonathan Goforth. Just thought I would check in. Depending on where your lead is coming from, if that's a parent, friend, then that's going to help you as to what to say to them. But you are asking, have they thought about moving? Maybe you do this as a service. And have they thought about refinancing? Because interest rates have been at a record low or near a record low for about 3 years, especially since COVID started. For the past couple of years, they hit a record low. And so that could just be a nice courtesy call. If they thought about moving, you would love to help them. But if not, have they thought about refinancing? Because this is the perfect time to do that before rates start climbing. Talk about board duty. Board duty is something that's been around since before I started 24 years ago. Not all of this existed back then. There was no social media yet. But board duty, yes, that's where you sit in the office, at the real estate office, and you sit there bored. No. You are on duty in the office in case a call would come in. A stranger calls the office number and they want somebody to list their house. And that's when you are on board duty. And you'll have a calendar where you can sign up for different hours during the day. You're not there for 8 hours that day. You have 2 or 3 shifts every day. I will tell you, board duty typically is not very successful. Nothing like it used to be. It used to be very successful before there was social media. But even now, for example, last week, I sent a referral to an agent in Texas. I didn't know anybody in this suburb, so I called a local real estate office there. I called the main number. I didn't have an agent in mind. They gave me the board duty agent. I made their day, and they agreed to take the referral, and I'm sure their mouth dropped open when I said the referral was for $750,000, and that agent's glad they were on board duty. Now let's talk about some other things. Should you take board duty? Yes. If you have the time to do it, sit in the office, work on your name list, hand address mailings, read books, whatever you can be doing while you're there. Do not sit at the office and do nothing. Don't just spend time talking when you can be productive doing your board duty time. Now, let's talk about door to door. Walking door to door, door knocking. I used to do this when I was new. When I first got started back in 1997, I went door to door and I knocked. Sometimes I knocked, sometimes all I did was hang a flyer. It works, but not well. Especially today, there's too many other things that have taken over. Does anybody really want somebody soliciting at their door? No. Especially during COVID, even though we're coming out of COVID, people just are not very receptive to somebody knocking on their door anymore. I wouldn't do this. I would eliminate it. But if you want to, go for it. Do every single thing that will work for you. Sometimes people will try something and it doesn't work at all. For example, something I do not have up here. I've been a realtor for about 6 or 7 years. I'm making quite a bit of money at that point. I'm making over $100,000 a year. At that point, I've got money to spend. I can put some money into a budget. And so I ran newspaper ads in the Kansas City Star had editions, regional sections of an insert that went in the paper. So South Kansas City had its own insert and I advertised inside that. I did every single week for 6 months, a quarter-page ad. That's a big ad, a 4th page about me. And in that whole 6 months, I got nothing, not a single call. So I don't even put newspaper ads up here because I don't even know if the newspaper prints the paper except the Sunday paper. It's not something people will go by and read enough to certainly spend your money to advertise in it. Let's talk about past clients. So guess what? Past clients means you're already a success. You've already had listings. You've already had buyers. You've had closings. You call those your past clients. You're going to ask them for referrals. All of your past clients have got to be in your COI list. They've got to be in there. Guess what? You have their address. They're easy. But don't forget, after a closing, make sure your name list is updated all the time. You don't want to, there was one time a few years ago, I don't know how I missed it. I forgot to add somebody in. And I thought about it about 2 years after that. But make sure you keep your name list always updated. Now with your past clients, let's talk about pop buys. You probably hear this taught in your office. So-and-so's gonna do some pop buys where you go pop buy a house. You're popping by your past clients. That's hard for me to do because I have hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of past clients, hundreds of souls. There's no way I could do that, which is thankful for that. But one of them on my team, what they did over the past few weeks, they bought poinsettias. I don't know where they went, Home Depot or Lowe's or wherever. They bought lots of them on Black Friday. They were a smaller plant and they got two plants for $5 or 2 plants for $4. That was the sale. They bought, I think, 30 plants and they have been driving by every one of their past clients and delivering a free poinsettia to their customer. Perfect opportunity to say hi, to renew that friendship, that relationship a little bit. It's a great way to touch them. And you know what they're asking for? Referrals. They don't have to come out and say it. They made a sticker that they put on the side of the plant. You know, thank you for being a past customer. If you think of anyone about to move, please have them call us. That's how you do pop buys. Pop buys is stopping by anybody's house, a past client, giving them something. Open houses. Let's talk about open houses. Do they work? I want to ask you that question. Do you think open houses work? Because door-to-door, door knocking, I don't believe that works. It used to. Open houses, I've done open houses for 24 years. A lot has happened over 24 years. I will tell you, over the past 3 years, we have had more success from open houses than ever before. A couple of reasons why. We do a really good open house, and I'm going to tell you a couple hints while we're on open houses. I have videos on this, by the way. You're going to need to go through my videos, find my videos on how to do a successful open house. We are really good at this. Do they work? Absolutely they work. And if you're not doing them consistently, you're making a mistake, because this is a huge lead source. Couple things. You need to get there early. Get set up. You need to do a video, whether this is your listing, somebody else's listing. You need to do a Facebook video before it starts. So don't put the open signs out there in the front yard yet. Do a video of your open house, walk through it, post it on your Facebook. While you are in there, I do not make people sign in. People hate that. You're not going to get accurate info anyway. They're going to put bogus phone numbers, and I'm very relaxed with it. I do not follow them around. I stay near the front where I can greet them. That way I know who's about to walk up, who's leaving. I want to see what's going on at that front door. I do not go upstairs with them. I never, ever go to the basement with strangers in somebody's open house. I stay on the main floor near the entryway. I pass, in this case, this is one of the things I would have passed out. These are the agents on my team, and this is pretty much a resume. This is about me. In fact, that's what this section is right here. This is about me. And this is a few family pictures. This is kind of my resume. This is what I want to leave them with, because chances are people coming to your open house are not going to buy that house. Now, it does happen. So you want to read the seller's disclosure before the open house. You want to know the ages of the furnace and air and roof, any other remodeling. If it's had foundation repairs, you want to know that. Keep all that tucked away in your head so you can have a good conversation during that open house. You want to impress the clients who are coming through it. Do not have copies of that seller's disclosure. Don't just be giving that stuff out to the random public. If they want that, I want to make sure they're really a buyer. I'm not handing that out publicly to all the neighbors walking through that house. That's how you're going to collect an email address. And then you can email the seller's disclosure to that client, and you know who you are sending that public, that private information, so you're not just giving it out publicly. That's how you do a successful open house. You've got to have something about yourself if you don't want to do something that's fancy. By the way, these are cheap at Vistaprint if you catch it on a coupon, or wherever else you want to print it. Or have a flyer about yourself. If you're going to do a flyer, then you got two flyers. One about the house, one about you. EDIM. This falls under farming. You don't have to do farming. Farming is expensive. You've got to be consistent. It's going to take years to make you the neighborhood expert if you're going to do farming. I do farming. I farm. Farming, what is farming? Farming is where you are going to aggressively solicit every single house in that section. It could be an entire neighborhood. Maybe you're only going to farm 3 or 4 streets, but you're probably going to farm 200 or 300 houses, addresses. You can do that by going door to door and putting something on those doors consistently over and over. You can do that by sending out, we're going to talk about what EDDM is. I do a lot of EDDM. It's whatever you want to do that sends things to the same houses over and over and over and over. You don't know who these people are. They don't know you. You're farming probably a neighborhood where you really want to be the expert. Hopefully it's where you live. So that makes it easier because you can say on there, proud to live in the neighborhood. What is EDDM? That stands for Every Door Direct Mail. You need to write that down. EDDM is a very powerful thing when it comes to farming. It's the best way to farm. EDDM, I'm going to briefly cover EDDM. And then I guess I need to make another YouTube video about EDDM. So it's another reason to subscribe. Don't forget to subscribe. You should click it now. EDDM stands for Every Door Direct Mail. This is through the U.S. Postal Service. You go to USPS.com. USPS.com. That is the United States Postal Service. When you click USPS.com, the postal website comes up, and across the top, you're going to see business. It's one of those categories. Click business. When you click that, all the different business services pop up. EDDM is the biggest little thing to click on. And that's where you create your mailing campaigns. Now, on this, I did these on Vistaprint also. I printed these a while back on Black Friday. I got ambitious, and I did a whole bunch of my mailings for 2022. They have different purposes. Some of these I'm going to put stamps on, but I'm going to pull this up really close. EDDM, you can see this block you're going to find on USPS, and then you put this with the code. All of this is at USPS.com under the EDDM section. And then everything else I make on my postcard. You can print them anywhere. Print them in bulk because you're going to need a lot. And then you go to after you print your postcard, so this is ready to be mailed, then you go back to USPS.com, and then you go to EDDM. When you click on that, you can type in your zip code where you're going to mail these to. And then you're going to pull up a map. It'll do all this for you, and it's going to show you all the postal routes. A postal route is that one mailman, where the mailman goes every day, only in his little truck is that mail route. And you're going to send this to every single house on his mail route. And it will tell you how many houses are in that one mail route. My personal neighborhood has three mail routes. And so I hit up all three when I do this. And you'll have to click what it costs, but it's not much. 14 cents each, give or take, to mail these. And there's no addresses, no names. It just goes in a bin. Postman sticks one of these in every single mailbox. It's a great way to do it. None of the houses get missed. And if you're going to farm, that's the way to go. And that's how you make it. It's that easy. But it probably sounds a little more complicated. I'll do a video on that later. These are other mailings. So let's talk about a couple other mailings that I'm going to be sending out. Valentine's Day. I like to show off my team. Now on these, you can see I'm with Keller Williams. I've not always been with Keller Williams. I was with Reese Nichols before this for 18 years. But this is just asking for a free pricing opinion. If they would like one, I'm asking for referrals. I'm asking if they want to sell their house. I've got disclaimers, all kinds of disclaimers. Make sure whatever mailings you do, you get approved by your broker, your managing broker. I'm also a broker, but I'm not the managing broker. You'll see this is very compliant with company logos and branding and all of it. And so things like that. That, in addition to that, let's talk about social media. When I first got into real estate, it was so much harder. Back, 1997 There was no e-signing. We did have MLS. Not that old. MLS had been around not very long though. Right before that, they had the huge books where everything was on paper. But we did have MLS. We did not have most of the realtor associations yet. Those came along afterwards. There were no apps. There were no websites for us. That all came along years after that. Since then, Facebook came along. And so let's talk about social media. We talked about Facebook a tiny bit because that's where you need to load a video about your open house. Leading up to your open house, do a couple posts. I'm going to have an open house coming up. Give the date, give the time, give the address and the price. Advertise yourself as well as that house. Every time you do a Facebook post, regardless of what it's about with real estate, you've got to put your brokerage. So if you are with Remax, whatever it's called, Remax Heritage, you put the whole thing on every single post, all of them. If you're with Keller Williams, you put Keller Williams Diamond Partners. You put the whole thing you're with. If you're with Reese Nichols or you're with whatever, Century 21, I can't even think of all the different companies, Platinum, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of different real estate companies. Make sure you put your brokerage in every Facebook post. Even at the very bottom line, it just has to be on there, identifying that. Something you can also use through Facebook are instant messages. That's a great way to contact people to get your COI's address. So you can send out junk mail, whatever you're going to send out. Drip campaigns are another great tool. These have been around for years. Your brokerage probably has something like this through your technology. You need to get your customer's name and email address, and then you put them in there. It's going to send them junk emails. Now, some of the things I don't like about drip campaigns, a lot of that goes to their spam box. And they might get the exact same spam emails from 20 different agents, and they're deleting all of you. So they work to an extent, but it's better than nothing. It's another lead source. That's a good way to get something from your open houses. Get names and email addresses, load them in. Another thing, I didn't put it up here because it's not a lead source, but after you get the lead source, you have a name and an address, maybe from a friend or from an open house, and you know what they're looking for. They're going to be a buyer. Put them in, do a search in MLS, and then save the search and then set up an auto email to them. And that would be a great way to stay in contact so that they become a very good lead. You can actually sell them a house. That's a lot of different lead sources. Take it and run with it. You're not going to do all of them, but you're going to get really good at some of them. I will say this. Some of these you can make a career on. Buying leads is one of them. You can make a career on buying leads. Some of the really big teams, that's where they make their bulk of their business. Let's talk about buying leads. There's only so many sources to do it from. You can buy them from Zillow. Most realtors just have a hatred of Zillow because we feel like it's damaging the real estate market. The Zestimates are very inaccurate, but your clients are using Zillow, and it's a good lead source. It can be. Realtor.com. There's so many of these. Dave Ramsey is a phenomenal lead source. It really is. Leads are expensive. You're going to need some money to buy leads. I'm going to give you a couple secrets. There are some agents on my team that buy leads. If you want to make that a success, you've got to be available. If you have a full-time job and you're doing real estate part-time on the side, buying leads is not going to work for you. You have got to be available to take that call when it rings. Or if you get an email or a text with the lead, you've got to call them back instantly. I mean, within 10 seconds, you are on the phone because that client is still sitting at that computer. They might still have the house on the screen, and you will capture that lead. Some of these lead sources are selling that same lead to multiple agents. You want to be first. You have to be first to lock in that lead. That's how leads work. You've got to be fast and you've got to be available. You've also got to be very patient, because a lot of these are just, they're treating you like information. They looked up a house and they're curious. I wonder if that backyard is fenced. So they click, to the right side of the screen, click a preferred agent or whatever, talk with an agent. They click on that, you get the lead. All they want to know, does that house have a fence? Like, dang it, I got to go log in. So you log in, you're looking through all the pictures that they could have done. Yes, has a fence. You see the fence. There's a lot of patience, but you can make a career on leads. You can definitely make a career on your COI list. I do. That's the bulk of what I do. My circle of influence, that's where it's at. Make sure you click the video below when this ends to learn how to do that. You will definitely make a career on referrals and mailings to that. Door-to-door, no. Family, absolutely. Speaking of family, you've got to make sure all of them are included in your COI list. Make sure your mom and dad and brother and sister and aunt and uncle, they all get your mailings. All of them. Do they know what you're doing? Yeah, they already know. You see them all the time. They have to get your mailings. They've got to see how hard you're working it. The harder they see you working it, the harder they are going to work to get you referrals. Because they'll give you referrals, and they are a huge lead source. You've got to make sure you're using your family. Sign calls, you can't make a career on that. Just listed and just sold calls, yes, you sure can if you've got a big enough list you're calling from. Board duty, no. Past clients, yes, but you've already become a success to get those clients. Social media, no. Can't make a career on Facebook. It's going to give you 2 or 3 extra clients a year, but you're not going to have any 20, 30 clients a year coming from social media. Just not going to work like that. This is a huge boost to everything else. But your social media is also overlapping with your COI list. It all works together to give you more and more buyers and sellers. Thanks for watching today's video. I hope you took notes. If not, just go back, screenshot it before I made it all dirtied up. And happy selling. I'm going to do another video soon on how you can make $100,000 as a realtor. So please subscribe so you get notified of that one later. Thanks for watching.